The establishment is on the back foot and playing catch-up. It's not a matter of how much power and authority they can wield, but rather public perception. If confidence in the establishment completely collapses and the masses revolt, the elites and their minions will wash their hands of all responsibility and leave the people to fend for themselves. There will be worldwide panic, at least in the short term. The highly connected, born into an age of smart technology and mass communication, will fare the worst, but eventually most will adapt and fall back on traditional skills or learn new ones. From time to time there will be feudal conflict, tin pot tyrants in the making, but nothing like before. No global political leaders, no international alliances, no world order, just people living their lives and working together, growing food and managing natural resources, using barter in a skills-based economy, trading goods at local markets and through cooperatives, and for some of the more technically minded, even a little power and communication. Of course, the internet would be scaled down, no social media or live streaming, but adapted shortwave technology could be enough for basics like text and email. A headless state would be hell on earth for some, but a new Eden for others. The total decentralization of all political power would mean freedom and struggle in equal measures. Life will be challenging, and basic necessities will take more time and effort to grow and gather. But on the flip side, the world would come alive, the people too. Nature thriving in the urban wastelands, clean water and food, and whole communities rediscovering true purpose and vision. It's a long way from here to there, and a lot more changes still to come. For now, stealth is the key, quietly undermining the enemy wherever possible. Civil disobedience is a powerful revolutionary tool, especially against an immovable autocratic state, but it goes far further than physical action or even non-action. With every thought and motivation, one must consider how it can benefit the enemy. When non-cooperation is not feasible, there are many other ways to undermine authority. The slightest criticism of bureaucratic inefficiency, spoken in confidence and with good humour, can spread discontent far more effectively than outright rebellion. The political sabotage of a system, under the guise of positive criticism, is straight out of the elite's rulebook. If they use psychological warfare to control the masses, then we can use it against them. The people need to have more faith in themselves and not immediately show their hand to the enemy. They must realise they have all the talent, the ability, the know-how. Not the legislators, not the bureaucrats, not the politicians, or even the technocrats. Ever since Ford first introduced specialisation to the factory line, societal indoctrination has done its utmost to quell any notions of self-sufficiency. Rules and regulations, the green agenda and overtaxation has deterred millions from picking up the skills of their forefathers. The wheel was man's first invention. I wonder how many of us could make one from scratch. Mine the ore and coal, forge the iron for an axe, hammer and nails, chop the wood, bend and cure it, and create a wheel. I know I couldn't. The system is heading for a planned collapse, and it can happen in two ways, either deliberately or naturally. The elites organise everything decades ahead, sometimes even centuries. Few of them truly understand the random nature of human synchronicity and use psychology to quell mass instinct. But what the order cannot comprehend, they cannot see. Should the people preempt the actions of their government, they can seriously upset the balance of power and take back control. Inefficiency is a plague to all corporate and state agenda. Public perception is the be-all and end-all for the establishment. If the people aren't on side, and there's no changing their minds, the system will buckle and shift gear into full damage control. The state will attempt to appease the masses with a promise of limited compromise, but if the public don't take the bait and their authority is permanently undermined, the elites will jump ship and make a rat run for their secret compounds. Rumour is another tool of social control, and with a little hype, it can be enough to bring down the enemies of the state. But like martial arts, we can use their strength against them and tip the balance in our favour. There's a whole world out there, and much of it is offline. Local communities across the planet filled with potential allies to the cause. Even lost causes can be turned around. Be subtle in your approach, imply, infer, insinuate, but never outright vent your opposition to the enemy. The longer that they keep you in their confidence, the more they drop their guard. Every convert to the Great Reset helps police the minds of the renegades, so we must return the favour. Should the elites completely lose control and all lines of communication are broken, their schemes will come to an end. This is when it gets really messy, for some communities will thrive and others will tear themselves apart. There will be great pain and suffering, but from this point on, we'll have nobody to blame but ourselves. Following the chaos, a common understanding of general consensus will lead the way. Laws will be merely cultural tradition and dependent on the community at large. Those who disrupt the lives of a community must find another home, and those who inflict harm on others will eventually, no matter where they go, find themselves alone. Freedom to travel will prevail, but without fossil fuels and a collapsing infrastructure, travellers will need to adapt. There'll be sailboats everywhere, canals, and even steam trains brought back to life. Check out the story of Stanley Meyer's water fuel cell from the 1970s. He ran a Massey Ferguson tractor on tap water. How about Ed Leeskalnin, who built a 10,000-ton castle in Florida in 1923 using something called perpetual electromagnetic energy? If the empire falls, their secret technologies will be up for grabs. Clean, unlimited power, transport, and homes for all. Imagine it. Clear skies with no white lines or toxic rainbow sunsets. Less planes, more balloons and solar flight. The resurgence of live theatre, traditional music, local arts and entertainment for an enthusiastic crowd. Politics returns to the town hall, except everyone's the mayor, eating clean food from local sources, picked fresh from crops outside your home, irrigated by rainwater harvesting or an atmospheric water generator. No more TV means the end to global propaganda and the psychotic news cycle of the mainstream media. No tycoons funding fake political movements, persuading the masses to give up more of their freedoms. No more traffic, no more commuting, no more rules and regulations. There will always be crazies, but I still believe the vast majority of people have enough decency and common sense to embrace the common good. They simply need the courage to trust their own instincts over those of their leaders and rediscover the true nature of community. Systematic collapse would be almost insurmountable, and some won't make it through the upheaval, but I for one think the sacrifice is worth paying. I'd rather die free than keep feeding the beast. To bring an end to this sham democracy, to create a more humane society, to allow humanity to evolve naturally and discover its true place in the world. The Amish can build a house within a matter of days. Eventually the favour is repaid in kind, and none asks for anything more besides a good meal and a drink. Why can't the rest of us do the same? If the government represents the people, why must we ask their permission for everything we do? Why do we continue to pay so dearly for the right to live under their authority? Systems can evolve beyond their original purpose. Society can be made self-reliant, working to an ethos of equal and mutual respect. Community must be by consensus, with a deeper understanding of collective empathy and social cohesion, offering more than mere security and material gain. It is time to destroy the machine, the synthetic dragon of the technocrat's dream. We must starve the establishment of all emotional feedback, kill their dreams, fuel their fears, play their games against them. Non-compliance is a philosophy of resistance, and it can pervade every aspect of our lives and those around us. The more we undermine the establishment, the more they double down. The more ridiculous they appear, the weaker they become.